pretty soon. I guess I'll just vote to represent Athena's fortune.
Yep. There is a grade 1 Reaper, so not a huge threat, but they are close to us. We'll have to be careful.
Sounds good.
I'm putting down a Voyage of Legends.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hello and welcome to SunnyRedemption Sailing Season 2, your bi-weekly no BS voyage to gaming news. Do you want to just kick us off by talking about Forza Horizon 5 going to PS5? Because that felt like a meteor strike.
It's just Microsoft's trending in that direction. It's like, you know, even if it's an old game, it's still being pretty well supported, and it seems like it's similar to when Forza Horizon 4 went to Steam. I mean, I think this is a bigger deal, but, you know, that was like one of their first tests of putting games on Steam again back in like 2020 or so, and it's like, I guess that game's probably not going to be delisted for at least a couple more years, so...
That's the hope anyway with the...
At least not until there's a Forza Horizon 6. I don't think they'll do what they did with Forza before, where they delisted all the previous mainline Forza games before the newest one came out. Like, I don't think they'll run into that again. That would... I don't think they'll let themselves fall into that again, because that was a pretty dumb situation where it's like they have this prestige racing series and you can't actually buy any of them before the new one comes out.
Well, yeah, that would
with the way they're supporting Horizon 5, I didn't expect that to be delisted. Like, Forza Horizon 4 stayed up for 6 years. It's been a little over 3 years so far for 5. For Forza Horizon 4 was up for about 6 years before they delisted. So I would expect 5 to stay up at least that long, if not longer.
And, well, Microsoft's overall game lineup appears to be in a good place for this year. They just revealed last week at the Developer Direct, Metaphor Refrench Tazio, also known as Player Obscure 33, Expedition 33.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that game's out.
That's just me making that joke again, because the last time I did it, all we were ready to place. Awesome. The last time I did that, sound was not captured. The last time we live reacted to the Developer Direct stream. So, anyway, there was that, and then, on the exclusive side, so South of Midnight looks gorgeous, and like it could be a lot of fun. I mean, Doom the Dark Ages is fantastic looking. That, as I mentioned, it feels like it finds a happy medium between run and gunning like you used to be able to in the old Doom 2016, and then just swinging around all over the place like a chimpanzee on Adderall in Doom Eternal. So, yeah, like, in terms of the game lineup for this year, they've got a good place going, and then they dropped these dual bombshells of Forza Horizon 5 coming to PS5, which will almost certainly make them a ton of money. And People Can Fly being given a job by becoming the co-developers on Gears of War E-Day. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They've worked on the series before. It's just been a little while.
I mean, between this, South of Midnight, and Avowed, they might actually be a fine for introducing new games to people that they like on their hardware in a bona fide timed exclusive fashion. Like, again, new games that you can only get for now on a specific hardware at a specific price, because Game Pass is the big exclusive for Xbox. It just is. That's just, we've got to accept this reality as a fan base, and not demand Xbox to be something different.
Yeah, clearly this is the direction they've been pushing in since they announced those first multi-platform titles last year. They're just kind of they're easing into being fully multi-platform as a publisher. And, you know, at first it was a case-by-case basis, and now it's just sort of much more of a blanket expectation. It's becoming that way. which is, you know, they didn't want to just do that all at once, and I'm sure their teams were not necessarily equipped to just turn on a dime and suddenly start being multi-platform. So,
nor will they always, to begin with.
Yeah.
Be able to be multi-platform day one.
Yeah. And definitely the parts of the fan base that are like upset about it for the reasons of like list wars, like they, you know, they have to on some level unfortunately appease that sort of mindset. But I think, you know, that's kind of part of why I think they're easing into it, and now I think we're far enough along into it where it's like not really as much of a surprise anymore.
No, not really.
And it won't be going forward. Like, I think the last big real barriers that they'll have where it will still be shocking to see will be Halo and Gears, you know? Those are still the ones that when it happens, and it will happen, people will be like, oh my god, Halo on PS5.
Even if it's like the Halo Master Chief Collection, which has been like probably cooking for a while now.
On a non-Xbox platform is going to be shocking. Even when Master Chief Collection went to PC and Steam, that was still like, oh wow.
I mean, again, I was surprised that that Doom: The Dark Ages didn't show up on Switch 2 as an announced game, nor did they announce.
I'm sure if they are
for Switch 2 for Forza Horizon 5.
Phil Spencer said as much that they're going to be supporting Switch 2. I think we're at the point where it's just going to be Nintendo's decision when they start showing off actual games, because clearly they have their own rollout going with their platform, and they haven't shown anything besides 20 seconds of Mario Kart, and you know, they're showing things at their own pace essentially.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm sure.
Come on,
I'm fairly confident Microsoft will be represented at the big blowout in April.
Yeah,
they're going to be showing games at that. If they're showing any games at that, they will definitely have some Microsoft stuff there.
Well,
honestly, maybe even some Sony stuff if the MLB The Show comes over.
That's true, and they did manage to not have it on Game Pass this time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sony.
I'm kind of bummed about that. I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I'll buy this one, because I did, you know, I did play at least a little bit of all the ones that have come to Game Pass to varying extents. So, like, maybe I'll buy this one. And they're always at least a minimum level of quality, but the last one really didn't hit very much for me. I only played maybe 5 or 6 hours of it.
That's annoying. I'm sorry.
But they are also getting rid of last gen, so that could help, because that was kind of part of what I felt was like, you know, the graphics that might have impressed me at, you know, midway through the PS4, Xbox One generation really weren't, like, it really wasn't rising above that yet, even on the current gen version. So I think divorcing themselves from having to do the last gen versions can help a little.
For sure.
So I'll kind of wait for reviews on that one, but I could see myself buying it if it's not on, you know, since it's not on Game Pass this time.
Well, apparently, half of PlayStation's active user base is still on PS4.
Yeah.
So I can see why they were slow rolling that one too. It basically
sports games are always some of the last to go.
Raw economic incentives just trump out over hard generational lines. That's just how it is now. What I'm wondering is, would you buy this Nintendo game that has just suddenly appeared out of nowhere on Xbox? It's called mariostrikers Soccer League, and it's for a ridiculously good price. Only $4.99 for a genuine Nintendo Mario Strikers game on Xbox. The multi-platform move is working. We are getting Nintendo exclusive games. No, just kidding. This is completely spam. And
you know, I took me a second to catch on to what you're saying, but I'm guessing there's some knockoff game that showed up on the store. Okay.
Yes, and it's still
that
up for somehow. This is from Kotaku.
I mean, hey, what'd you say the name was? Mariosa?
Mariostro.
That's close enough.
Close enough, indeed. For the confused grandma crowd, the favorite of scammers, double check your map, Captain. Page cannot be found. So, it's hilarious that the 404 for this is a Sea of Thieves joke. I love it. Yeah, no, they finally took it down. Bummer. I was really looking forward to what I'm sure would have been a really good take on that style of gameplay.
Yeah, I wonder if someone in Nintendo took a casual stroll over across the street to up there in Redmond just to knock on the door and say, hey.
Take down this game, or we'll mariostrikers you in the head! Yeah, no, that pretty much is an instant legal bolt of death from the blue. A contact from a Nintendo lawyer. Just trying to get this rowboat out of here. Because we have it. It's just being annoying. I think maybe...
We already have a harpoon rowboat on the ship.
Oh, okay.
Should be alright.
Let's see. I'll just grab this piece of fruit, and then this piece of fruit already. Okay. Looks like you found a group of friends to play with.
I just had to lure them away from the ship.
Okay, so the only, like, nervousness that I have with all of this is that, according to the link I sent you from GameDeveloper.com, titled, let's see, where is it? Microsoft is not yet ready to deprioritize Xbox consoles. 85% of Game Pass subscribers are on consoles. So
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's a much more I think it's a much more attractive option for a console user still.
Yeah, to not have to pay money right off the bat, at least not a ton of it, for hundreds of games. At this point.
It's been this way since at least they've been putting first-party stuff into Game Pass. But if you have an Xbox, it's such a no-brainer to me. Even with some of the price hikes, I still think it's pretty worth it just to keep Game Pass around.
Well, what I think they were hoping was that once they poked the console balloon, that the water that they'd be able to slow the leak of the water of users. While also filling the water from other platforms, but that really hasn't happened. In large part, that's because of the very, very anti-competitive maneuvers from both Apple and Google. That who knows where those will go with this current environment, let's say. Who knows where the gaming industry in general will go with all these crazy trade wars on the horizon. Either.
Yeah.
I mean, so apparently... not interested, let me read on. Thank you. Wow. I mean, this really is the only way for Microsoft to go, is multiplat. Unless they have a massive growth in console user base, because...
Yeah, and they've already taken the path that will not get them that massive user base growth. So they've already put that aside.
Unfortunately, the Series X and S are 5 million units behind where the Xbox One was at this point.
Yeah.
So
and that's just the sort of thing where as long as Microsoft still finds it valuable enough to put out a box that plays its games, I don't care. That's the only valid reason that I think you can really oppose a multi-platform strategy, is if it will actually devalue the platform that you're on enough that they stop supporting it. That's the only concern that I would have is, years down the line, if they decide when it comes time to put out new hardware that they just decide to go fully multi-platform and suddenly there is no physical Xbox box. That's the only concern. But if they say they're not deprioritizing and they plan to go full speed ahead at least for another generation, then hey, that's, at least the next 10 years or so they seem committed to it.
Well,
Hopefully.
is it 10 years?
Things can change.
Because,
things can change.
Because GameSpot did mention the rumors that once again, there could be they could fire early with new hardware in an attempt to get out ahead of Sony.
Yeah, if they come out
next year.
That would be the last, I think, competitive move they could really pull in this space, because they already have, right now they are technically losing the power battle to Sony because Sony put out a Pro console this generation. So if they want to just sort of break that cycle and leapfrog Sony on their own and put out something in 2026, then they can try that gambit and see how it goes. I mean, at this point, I think hardware-wise, they don't have much to do. They might as well try something.
Well, it's more the software side that I'm worried about. Not necessarily even just games, but the ecosystem, again, seems to have hard caps on where it can grow and then create a virtuous cycle. But also, Phil says that, yes, we want our hardware to win with innovative new features, and then obviously he doesn't say what those are yet. But we've been speculating for a while, based on very solid evidence, that it is going to be AI. And then suddenly, DeepSeek comes and pops that bubble. So, by the time they decide to fire, will AI features necessarily be seen as innovative when you can get these things on hardware that costs 3% less to train?
And what will those AI features be anything more than what NVIDIA's already doing with DLSS? Because some of the tech demos of their DLSS stuff and just the frame generation stuff is they're yeah, we only have to render, in the future they're saying they're only going to have to render 1 out of 4 frames or something, and it's
wow.
That's yeah, they gave some talk at, I watched a bit of a talk that I think it was the CEO gave at CES. He was, kind of pie in the sky futurism stuff, but he also did have demos to show. I think there definitely were some demos of here's what we think we'll be able to do with frame generation, at some point. So that's a very strange prospect of at some point the AI is going to be doing a fair amount of the frame generation heavy lifting and weird stuff like that. That sort of becomes almost a philosophical question at that point of what is this game? Is it what's being rendered on your screen by the machine, or is it the AI interpreting what's being rendered and filling in the gaps?
Yeah.
That's such a weird prospect to think about.
How the AI hallucinated an entire Doom level, or generated a game level on the fly.
I mean, frame generation is not quite to that point. They're not talking about fully generating a game. They're taking existing data and doing what DLSS and stuff is already doing, but on a even more on a bigger scale to get better performance for less hardware costs.
Really, it's a race for Microsoft of trying to get all the handheld PCs in the world that they can, and other folks on other devices into the Xbox experience. But they just don't know seemingly how to do that in a software fashion, because something like less than 10% of all Xbox games end up getting Xbox Play Anywhere versions, for instance. And that's one feature that people really like, is being able to buy a game once on PC and then have it carry over. Because, with Sony's removal of DRM, or not DRM, of PSN login requirements.
Account. Yeah.
Yes, the account DRM, in that regard. They should have just done the incentives to begin with, of extra skins and such if you hand over all your data. But how it would have worked for me in an ideal world is well, this version, you bought it on your PS5, you have it on Steam. That wouldn't have given them the money that they wanted, so that's why they didn't do that.
That goes against a lot of Sony's interests, unfortunately. Whereas Microsoft, like, they're happy to take those PC cuts because, you know, that's...
they're happy
they don't
to...
mind if everyone's buying on PC, yeah.
They're happy to penny pinch on Xbox while spending $80 billion on Stargate, apparently, and letting people go. Or I guess just, if you're EA, redefining what a layoff means so that you can... Well, some people will get jobs in other EA studios, but now apparently BioWare is less than 100 people. Finally prototyping the next Mass Effect.
Yeah. I mean, that feels like a very much final sort of full ripcord final gambit that they have there with BioWare, because they've had... I think Veilguard wasn't nearly an Anthem level disappointment by any means, but it seems like it didn't light the world on fire. So it's like, alright, they've played their Dragon Age card, and that hasn't quite, you know, maybe it didn't like bomb spectacularly, but it didn't do the numbers they wanted. Their next move is, hey, let's try a Mass Effect again, which, you know, it's not like they're suddenly deciding to do a Mass Effect. They have full-on teaser trailers for it for a few years, but like now it's
full-on.
They're just putting all their chips. They're putting all their chips into that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them if that game doesn't hit. Like, they really can't afford another, because they've just had a string where they haven't had a unmitigated success in this Mass Effect 3 sales-wise. You know, you can say what you want about the ending of that game, but sales-wise, Mass Effect 3 did great, and they haven't, you know, they had it in Andromeda, then back-to-back with Anthem, then they were fairly quiet, and then they had another seeming disappointment with Veilguard.
And that's ridiculous to me, because it was their best-selling game on Steam, but compared to the projections that were wanted, that's...
Yeah, so then it's like,
odd.
Okay, is EA really overestimating how much Dragon Age should do, which is a series that hasn't had an entry in a decade?
Well, they clearly don't know how to promote new stuff. They're just... Well, they're doing good things by re-releasing The Sims 1 and 2 for modern systems, but that seems like a no-brainer they should have done years ago. Not something that should be done just now. It just feels like, in general, IP doesn't really guarantee anything anymore. And maybe that's fine, because it's okay to not have the same IP schlock running around. Though, I don't know how, for instance, certain IPs that Sony owns, such as... Like, Horizon will do well, but will enough people go to see Shadow of the Colossus when it finally finishes its script, for instance? But then on the other side of it, trying to inject IPs into games, well, multiversus is going down for good. So that is not a magic bullet.
Like, that's a game where they gave it 2 full shots. Like, they launched it, delisted it, called it an open beta, and then tried again. They even had, I remember they had McDonald's toys for it. It's like, they have all these pretty good IP. Yeah, I remember when they relaunched Multiversus, they had McDonald's toys.
I did not hear about that.
Like, yeah.
Those are probably gonna go for like $500 on eBay or something.
Yeah. So they've certainly, you know, they definitely gave it a shot, but it seems like just, you know, that platform fighter genre is really, really dominated by Smash on the high end. And then, you know, you have other, you know, decent successes, but nothing like what WB probably wanted Multiversus to do. They were probably thinking we could get like Fortnite level success out of this game because we have the IP, and I don't think the game played terribly. Like, I played it a fair amount.
I liked it for what it was. Especially when I played Batman.
Like, but it's never, again, it's tough to one-up Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers just has the combo of the IP, and just they have their gameplay systems down to a T. So it's like I never like to discount like people trying something and not being quite as good as another game, because I still find value in that. But in that case, it's like it wasn't quite there enough for me. It's similar with when Sony tried theirs with PlayStation All-Stars, where I liked a lot of the core things it was going for, but then they just had to like ruin it with the way that you actually get kills in that game, which made no sense.
Interesting. I thought it was kind of odd, even though I liked the inclusion of such, and I never played this game, so I can't comment on the rest of it. But the inclusion of BioShock as a Big Daddy as a PlayStation All-Star, because, as we both know, it was a timed exclusive for the Xbox 360 by virtue of the PS3 being terrible to develop games for. And so there just wasn't that association with PlayStation even after the port to the PS3 in 2008. So that seems like it was a fairly large waste of marketing money to try and fill out a roster that Sony probably could have filled out entirely by itself, but they were just like, we gotta have a hot new game as part of that. Then they had hot new mascots with Uncharted and all of that. So I don't really get it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
maybe.
So with the platform fighter stuff, it's just like I guess like I don't know. Nintendo must be cooking up another Smash Brothers without Sakurai's involvement this time, because he says he's definitely done this time. And I'm curious to see what Nintendo like. It's tough to even imagine Nintendo being able to like outdo what they did with Smash Ultimate at this point, because that game just sort of was just the ultimate dream kitchen sink kind of game.
It'll be tough to imagine them one-upping any of their games from the Switch era.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think they can outdo Odyssey, because I was not the biggest Odyssey's fan, and I'd love to see them go more in the direction that they did with Bowser's Fury, where I thought that was a much better way to do like a more open world-ish 3D Mario. Like I just think one contiguous world. If they can make it work on a larger scale with the Switch 2, because like Bowser's Fury on Switch 1, like pretty decent size open map, but if they can get like a map 4 to 5 times that size and make it work on a Switch 2, I think that's what I'll be really interested to see if they do continue in that design direction.
That'd be quite the Nintendo open world game.
Yeah, because for me, like Odyssey, I just think they really tried to like the moons as like mini objectives. I think were just a little too much. Like there were like 1,000 of them in the game, something like that.
Something like 800 or so.
I got to 900 something, and I was like, all right, I yield. Like I don't really. And usually I 100% a Mario game. Like I even got 120 shines in Mario Sunshine as a kid.
What?
Which is not easy, because a lot of those shines come from collecting blue coins, and there's like 240 blue coins in the world that are just hidden in really obscure places. So I definitely banged my head against that. But my point being, like, Odyssey felt like even more of that to me at some point, where it's just like, okay, I'm doing these weird 2-minute-long mini-tasks and getting, like, at some point the rewards felt very diminished. Whereas, you know, some of the stars or the shines in the Mario Galaxy and Sunshine and 64, you know, those always felt like a decent accomplishment when you got them. So, I think that's why I'm more interested to see them go in the direction that Bowser's Fury was pointing towards, because that sort of went back to that style a bit more, but with that huge open world rather than separate maps. So I'm definitely interested if that is what they're going to be going for, because that was sort of what they hinted at when they first brought out Bowser's Fury. I remember they at least had a couple interviews where they were saying, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking about for what we could do for me and my Mario. Yep, look out. I've got a sniper. You got it off. There we go.
Nice way to solve that. Let me just take a dip. Whew, that was close. Well, you know, maybe the thing to do for any new game that tries to one-up anything is just to have a Limpbizkit powered opening, according to Devil May Cry on Netflix anyway.
Devil May Cry, yeah. Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how that actually works, because like people were like, "Oh, really? How excited about Castlevania?" And I was like, "I'll get around to that eventually," and then I didn't.
Yeah, I watched the first season of that and I liked it, but not enough to keep up with however many seasons they have now.
Maybe somebody getting involved from the games is enough. Like, or directly from the games. Like, elliotpage apparently making a beyondtwosouls TV show.
The Beyond Two, yeah, that'll be... I'd love to see what they do with that, because I can't imagine it'll be anywhere near...
I think it'll probably be therapy for him. To some degree. Yeah. With how,
But I mean, I played through that game in like one sitting with a friend when it came out. It was just like... we were basically just riffing over it the entire time.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth after getting
good for that, and it's like, I don't know if they can make a movie that can live up to that in terms of just...
well, TV show.
Terribleness, but... Oh, it's a show, okay. For some reason I thought I read movie, okay. Well,
no worries.
then the show
I'm gonna pick up this random captain chest, by the way.
Cool.
Like, that was my first, like, real exposure to games with heavy emotional stories in them, and I thought it was super deep as a teenager. Watching it in YouTube videos is probably where the...
yeah, like, the thing is, I already experienced Heavy Rain, and so I kind of knew what the David Cage was all about, and I actually played Omicron on Dreamcast as well. That was a hell of a game.
Well,
in the worst way possible.
Storytelling for games has certainly come quite a bit of a ways since that whole era. Like, okay, I was playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and I think I've given up on it for now, because that boss I was telling you about just absolutely reamed me. But, well, the cutscenes that are still there, and they're like, oh yes, right, the CIA does issue tactical airbags to Sophia. There was a different standard of writing back then. So it'll be interesting to see how, again, 12 years or so later, the main actor for this, who had his body included in the game without his knowledge by Mr. Cage, and sued him over that. You know, and now identifies differently. We'll have an angle on this. Maybe the secret for IPs is just to have a dream list feature, like GOG does, to allow people to pester publishers about games that have been neglected, games that should get sequels but haven't, games that have just been abandoned for a super long time, because that's apparently how Dino Crisis 1 and 2 got very bare remasters for modern platforms. I don't think I'll ever be able to play it, because I don't think that would be optimized for Steam Deck, but still. In this stomach-churning year for video games, that's what Polygon called it, it's gotta be all of the above approach for so many people. Like Sony with its movies everywhere and their PC ports, and then maybe Wolverine. Maybe Wolverine will be the
Insomniac works fast enough that I could believe it coming out this year. Because, like, since Spider-Man in 2018, they haven't gone more than 2 years without releasing a game, so if they're still working at that pace, I can definitely see Wolverine happening this year.
Well, one game that I hope will also be happening this year, I mean, it probably will, because it's been delayed enough times, is Assassin's Creed Shadows, but Ubisoft just appears to be going from fail to fail lately, and they have 18,000 employees.
Yep, and that's just another one where it's sort of a make or break for them, so they're kind of really trying to at least give the game the best chance of success, I guess, because they don't, like, they've had some buggy launches with Assassin's Creed in the past, and I'm sure they really want to avoid that.
Yeah, well, they have a lot at stake, but I feel like the developer that has all the things at stake, even though I could set the future, even though they'll probably be fine, is Rockstar. Because the Polygon article also points out that Mafia, Borderlands, and Civilization are getting big releases this year. Mafia: The Old Country, which I have been stuck for so long on Mafia 1 that I think I'm just gonna move on to Mafia 2. There's just like this
I got near the end
stealth.
of Mafia 1. I'm on the last few missions, but I dropped it a couple months ago. I haven't gone back to it. I was enjoying it. I do want to get to 2 and 3 because I played 2 before and never played 3.
3, my favorite part of that is the DLC. I did not end up finishing the main game for that, but the DLCs were fantastic. I found them, by the way.
Gold skeletons. Yep, there are gold skeletons. Are we close to water? Not really.
Well, you can always just scoop it up with buckets.
I have a couple fire bombs too. That's pretty good against those.
Oh! I hoped I could. Yep, I was able to transfer the fire to him. Oh, darn it! That would have been so cool if I had been able to cool him off with that, and then he explodes. Ah! Oh. Whoa. Ah. You know what? I'm resolving that this stream is not one where I'll die. Please. Hey, Doke.
Oh, have you played any more Indiana Jones?
Oh yeah. Well, I have. I managed to get past the part in Giza that I was stuck on, and got stuck for like an entire day trying to figure out why it just wouldn't load at all. Like, it wouldn't load into the game. Period. This was after I got to the frozen battleship and opened a door after looking up the code for the puzzle because I just wasn't feeling like it. And as a result of that, it just loaded into a black screen. And that was it. And the game crashed, and then I restarted it multiple times. I almost considered resetting my console, but I just needed to do a hard power restart, and then it was fine. This is what I mean by the software side of things, though, when it comes to consoles, because if you have a game box that's supposed to just be directly playing games, you cannot have these issues. You cannot have games not work. I'm sorry. You can't. Like, if games aren't going to be exclusive, fine. If games are going to show up on other platforms same day, fine. Game Pass is an argument. But you can't have all these innovative AI hardware features and then get basic stuff wrong like this when it comes to consoles actually doing their job as gameplay in boxes. Once I got past that error, though, I was able to get to Sukutai, and
It's okay. Yeah, I was going to ask if you were there yet, because I'm at the point where I think I'm just about at the last thing in Sukutai.
And then that's probably towards the end of the game?
Yeah, but I am wondering if I can go back and clean up all the collectibles, because I heard there is something cool if you do that, but I don't know what that is, so I don't know if it's worth doing. And I do have a lot of collectibles to clean up still, mostly the ancient relics and stuff. I've done most of like actual side quests, just not all the relics.
You're much more of a game completer than me, so
yeah,
you'll have to let me know.
But I do have my limits, so like, you know, I do have other stuff I want to play. So I think I might be satisfied. I have heard that you can get like a secret ending if you get everything, but you have to do you have to do the normal ending first. So I'll probably just go through the normal ending and then see how much appetite I have for doing the collectibles after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's such a fantastic game.
I did not realize there was a normal and true ending.
Yes. So I've heard that's tied to getting all the collectibles, so that's why I'm kind of wondering. But then I also read, you should do the normal ending first anyways. Or I think you have to do the normal ending first. There's some collectible you can only get like post-game or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the last mission probably tomorrow, see how it goes, and then if I feel like it, before I go to Universal, try to clean up some of those collectibles. But yeah, hell of a game. Have you gotten far in Sukutai yet? Or did you just start it?
Okay, so I just did the mission where you have to steal a bunch of gold from the Nazi camp. From Voss's camp to get the rebreather. And then realized that I left my boat there in a panic. So I have to swim back to the camp to get that because I figure I'm gonna need to.
I was gonna say there are boat launches you can radio for a boat, but I don't think there's actually one near that camp specifically.
Well, that's okay.
But your boat it should be marked on the map, so you could at least go back to the boat from there.
Right, I know where it is. It's just more like actually getting that, and then, well, if you're saying that I can just radio for the boat from any of the launches,
there is a boat launch. I know there's not one near Voss's camp because that's like fully Nazi controlled, but I know there is. They are. Like, near most of the major places that you dock around Sukutai, there is one.
Okay.
We do have treasure way up in Royale, but it's kind of far away. I think I might just want to sell. And it's not guaranteed to be Athena's treasure either, so it probably won't be as valuable.
Okay, then.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, we have one more chapter. That's right. I forgot we didn't do the final chapter. So we want to actually go to Devil's Ridge on the southeast.
Yep, I'm marking that.
So let's head up first, get that last treasure.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, but I was a little bit down on Sukutai when it first started because it comes right after those really two great set pieces.
Yes.
Between Himalayas and Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
So like those were such like fantastical set pieces that
it then cuts the momentum.
Open world stuff. Yeah, it does sort of blunt the momentum a bunch. But then once you're back into the open world exploring again, it's like, okay, once you get into the groove, it's back to being great. it just takes a little bit of getting used to with the boat travel and stuff, because it's such a different pace than you're used to from the rest of the game. But I think it works in the end.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
There's plenty of non-boat stuff too, because I was so worried about that. I was like, oh, is this just going to be all going from point to point on a boat? Am I basically playing Indiana Jones Wind Waker at this point? But no, like you'll still have plenty of like exploration beyond that. It just takes a little bit.
Well, I'm glad that you find that works. Again, like I found the fight at the camp really annoying. Mostly because, again, it's very difficult to fight off a large group of Nazis in this game.
I should also ask you this: did you happen to find the costumes in that area? Because
no,
I almost missed it.
Oh, what costume is it?
Like, oh my god, that because like the one that you get in the Vatican is very hard to miss, and then the one you get in Giza is like you definitely can miss it, and then the one in Sukhothai you could definitely miss that one. So it sounds like you missed it. So do you want me to just tell you where it is, because it's so helpful together?
Yeah,
I'm
fine with that.
Within Boston's camp, I believe on the west side of it, there's a soldier cleaning his clothes. He's kind of just in his undershirt and stuff, and he just has his uniform lying on a table next to him.
Oh!
So you just have to sneak around him and get it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like I got that as I was headed out, because I already got the gold and stuff without getting that, and then I was headed out, and I was just like, oh, there's a soldier here. Oh, there's something glowing next to him. I thought it was like money or something. It's like, oh no, this is like the uniform. And so,
interesting.
Yeah, definitely look for that if you get a chance. It's super helpful, because it made the rest of the exploration so much easier.
Well, that's great. And I have to say that camp fight, even though I was annoyed by how difficult it was, it made it all the more thrilling when I managed to sneak past like the entire command room to get up to unlock that safe, and then had to flee by zipline, and just was like leaping across the branches.
Yeah, I love
diving into the water and stuff.
That zip line. It's at the exact place where you're like, I gotta get the hell out of here. Okay. By the way, Devil's Bridge the island we're going to has a world event on it. So.
Okay then.
I don't know if we're well equipped. I would say we're probably not. Cannonball wise.
Let me see.
I wonder.
Maybe
one of us should just get dropped off at the beach and the other just flee, because I really don't want to get a bunch of fire from these cannons. We don't have a ton of wood, I don't think. A ton of cannonballs.
Well, we have 86 cannonballs so far, and that's the official
that's
stores.
A decent amount.
40 wood in the official barrel, but then let me check.
That can go pretty fast.
That can go pretty fast. I think we don't have much of a choice, though. They seem to be firing on us anyway.
We can have one of us land on the beach and then the other just kind of leave the world event until we're ready to leave. It shouldn't take that long either. I think either leave the world event or just try to avoid the cannon fire. Or I can do that and get the treasure, either way.
I'll get the treasure, you do it.
Yeah, the treasure's right on the beach. I'm just going to land you on the north beach, and it should be right there.
This is gonna be hairy! Ah!
So, yeah, it should be right on that north beach.
Okay.
Try to ram us.
I don't think they're trying to ram us, but they're about to anyway.
I'll repair. I just want to get you dropped off first, then I'll repair.
Yeah, that is the most important part. Ah!
Go ahead and hop up on those islands, get to the North Beach, and then I'll just kind of leave for a bit, come back in when I need to pick you up.
Okay, doke. Let's see.
You're quite on the North Beach, but you're not that far.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out where I am on the little outcropping islands. Let's see. Okay, dope. That doesn't sound good.
You're doing alright.
Okay. Will you just not snakes today? Thank you. Ah, not quite. Okay. I think you... Alright, I see now. I was looking at the wrong way. I think.
You're definitely close. See your nameplate.
Well, we have a cannonball crate full of 27 cannonballs.
Yeah.
Another one! Enough with the snakes today! Is this revenge for Mr. Blue Snake getting killed after being on our ship, doing a terrible job of guarding the ladders? I don't know. I hope not. Oh! Oh no! And I'm being chased by an exploding barrel, so that's fun. Ah. Off already. Poison, please. And thank you. Okay, I have an ammo pouch. Let's do this. And I'm dead.
Nope. Okay.
Again, I wanted this to be the last stream. No, I already offered my soul to the ferryman.
Yeah, I know. I'll bring you back in once you're back on the ship.
Oh, okay. I can't even get a cool flame for this. Womp womp. Okay, well... Round 2! Attempting this. Okay, I think I have some more ideas about where this might be. I think I didn't go quite enough off to the east. So I was digging the northwest, not quite north.
Here we go.
Thanks. Let's just hope that that this event doesn't attract other unwanted attention.
Yeah, that's what I was also a little concerned about. So, get it quick.
Ay, okay. No, I think that might be too far. Okay, I think I might have it. Or the general area,
As
anyway.
you do, I will U-turn my way back there.
Sounds like a plan. Urgh.
Think of far enough away where they're not going to shoot me.
I did it!
Nice. Alright, turn back. Just go back to those outer islands.
And it wasn't Athena's treasure.
The chests. Yep. That's
Oh wait,
why
that was a different island that you were worried it wouldn't have it. Okay.
Yeah. This was the one for the actual voyage. Alright, headed back.
I guess the other one was just like a message in a bottle or something.
Yeah, it was.
Right on! I guess I'll just try to swim to you as much as possible with this heavy chest
watch out
there.
for sharks.
Oh, wow, thanks for reminding me. Yeah.
That's the danger of trying to swim out far. You always got to be careful for sharks.
Indeed. Though I do not see any, thankfully.
Okay. Slowing up the ship to give you a good chance to hop on.
And
A bit or two.
nailed it. There we go.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Yes, let me
Go
check the
back
map.
west. I think we want to go west. I think that's where the outpost was.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Oh, I'll repair. I do not see any of the Reapers on the map either, so I think we're good.
Yeah. Alright, I'm just going to sail us north a little bit because we're kind of... Oh, we might take a hit here. Yes, fire. Oh no, did it actually hit us? It didn't. Okay, never mind.
I was like, yeah, wait, we didn't get hit with fire.
Because it hit right where the anchor is, but it didn't actually cause any fire to spread.
This is gravy.
That's the backside. I see a hole there.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Oh, Ancient Spire is closer. Let's just go to that one. I forgot Ancient Spire was right north of us.
Okay, no cloud for me there. I'll mark it. So yeah, January has been the starting gun for a really chaotic / exciting year.
Yep.
And a whole new game, a whole new platform device is always a bit of a shot in the arm, and they are still doing physical games for that. Though now there's that little 3DS-like notch on the Switch 2 cartridges to make sure that you don't accidentally put them in your Nintendo Switch 1.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same thing with Game Boy Color Advance as well.
That's where I'm like...
Kind of a tried and true method.
There's people are always like, oh, the Nintendo should have done something different. They have had iterative versions of their platforms before.
Plenty of times.
Exactly, so...
They will run the Switch until the wheels fall off. Like, they have something that, like, you know, could be seen as a gimmick, but it's a gimmick that works.
Or until Nintendo takes over the world, once they're in every media crossover, and then we have mushroom-shaped Virtual Boy helmets that attach directly to our brains to play all their games. That's the dream. That's gonna be the dream eventually for the next generation of Nintendo fans. But yeah, like, there's a lot of risk, but a lot of potential reward if you're, if you have a good idea for a game, then can make it in less than 7 years, and can, and have good community management, because that's important, and maybe are attached to an old IP, or just are new, but in an entertaining, spiritual successor way. Because like, I don't think that shady part of me is going to blow up by any means, but it's basically a spiritual successor to Contrast, which is interesting now that we're seeing, you know, that we're seeing the new game from them.
Yeah.
Cause like, oh yeah, I put this in the wrong port. Okay, never mind. Gotta go around. I got used to having to do it the old way again after messing up that last time. But nobody will ever find out because it had no sound and no views. Anyway, but like, that's actually doing the Shadow in and out gameplay really well and with a good pace. Like, there's all sorts of shadowy spots to save your progress with, so it feels a little bit more. It feels a little bit better paced than Contrast in that regard. Instead of like, oh, going around for a little bit and then you have the puzzle that room that you're stuck in. It's just, this is the puzzle platforming here. But yeah, Compulsion really inspired people. I'm hopeful that anytime people get inspired, they feel like they can create and have plenty of people to potentially play their games, but the same old problem is gonna rear its head. Too many games and not enough attention span. We'll try our best throughout this year to bring you coverage of games that are new, exciting, and different. And also, hopefully, like, save ones that are underrated from being so. Anyhow, I don't think that, again, Xbox is going away or anything like that. People need to stop with the hyperbole. But this is definitely the decade that makes or breaks Xbox for good. 'Cause it's like, you can't have this tension between what Xbox used to be, a box, and the community forever. Either they do manage to successfully break away, or they get crushed in. Those are the only two options.
They have to keep expectations consistent, and what they're doing is they're lining it up right now, slowly, and I think we're, like I said at the beginning, like, I think they're just about at the point where people are just going to expect it to be multi-platform. They don't need to make a huge announcement about it, and it doesn't have to be a huge fervor over it. I think Forza was probably the last non-Halo or Gears one that's super surprising, and now we're kind of just waiting for those other shoes to drop eventually. Like, I don't know when that'll be. Maybe with the Switch 2 reveal, if they want to put those on Switch 2.
There's just a marketing sharpness that they need to get along with this that they haven't yet. Because the last thing I'll mention is that I saw a bunch of old commercials from like 2008
we have an
or
enemy
so.
ship, by the way, so let's lower our emissary before they sink us.
Oh yeah, good point.
It's a sloop, and I'm not too interested in fighting them.
No, me either.
I don't know if they're going to try to fight us. They do have an emissary.
Yeah, but how is that really going to deter them? They're going to try and steal our loot anyway.
I mean, maybe they just shot a warning shot to us. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just me being a dummy about finding the ladder. I'll lower emissary now. But yeah, like, this ad was for a buy a PC for college, get a free Xbox 360 from promo at Best Buy, I believe. And there's just some je ne sais quoi around that I never was able to get on board with before it went away, and that now I'm sad is gone. Well, enjoy. We have nothing, so...
Enjoy the ship log, I guess.
I controlled him for a few minutes. Okay.
I'm just swimming over to him just for fun.
Yeah, same here. We got everything we wanted, so not a big deal. You may shoot down the redemption as many times as you like, but you'll never truly defeat us. When we don't care.
Alright, got one of them. I don't know if there's another. I'm looking.
Probably.
Unless they've already hopped off the ship.
Their other person got me.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yep. He was biding his time.
Oh, well.
And I don't have any food, so I'm just gonna
Except
take my lumps.
Yeah, I should probably have had any sort of plan for that, but whatever.
We've gotten all our valuables sold, we've lowered emissaries, so...
Yep, and
all we got from us is our ship's log, pretty much.
Captain goes down with their ship. So that's what I'll do. Sometimes you just gotta embrace the silliness. For all of it. Well, I can quit now, but, well, before you go, again, I guess just let me know when you're free next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy week for me between, obviously, Orlando, and then as soon as I come back, I go back to work for, I think, 3 days. And then... So, I probably won't be on until, like, next Friday, I think. Either Thursday or Friday, I might be free. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, you know what I think we do? Because there is all this stuff around Forza Horizon 5. That's the game that we pick for next week. That should allow us some peaceful moments to discuss your Orlando trip as well. Which I'm excited about. Alrighty then. Yeah. Well, you have a good one then.
Catch you later.
Alrighty.